35-year-old Peradeniya works in his mother's tea garden on weekends and on his family's tea plantation through the rest of the week. Life for him and thousands like him changed for the worst almost overnight in April 2021 when the government imposed a complete ban on the import of chemical pesticides and fertilizers and mandated that the focus shift completely to organic farming.
Most of the farmers don't know how to use organic fertilizers to their crops. So when we using the chemical fertilizing for 1 acre of the tea lands, we can get 900 to 1000 kilogram per month. Because of lack of the chemical fertilizer, we can get only 600 or 700 kilos per 1 acre. Huge impact of our monthly earning.
The ban meant that tea exports, which in 2020 stood at number 2 on the list with a value of $1.27 billion and along with coffee accounted for 15% of total exports, fell drastically. Tea plantations also play an important role in employment generation in the island nation, and the government's new policy meant heavy losses, forcing farmhands to be laid off and livelihoods being lost. Conservative estimates suggest that the policy shift resulted in over $400 million in losses.
In 2021, though the lockdowns were not there, despite all these impacts, Sri Lanka was able to produce 299 million kilograms of tea. Made tea production was declined by about 12 million kilograms of made tea. All these things can be mainly attributed to the lack of fertilizer.
The island's rubber plantations went through a similar painful story, as did rice farmers who took a big hit due to a sudden shift to unfamiliar practices and being forced to buy and use more expensive fertilizers and pesticides.
Earlier, with chemical pesticides and fertilizers, my farm produced 25 to 30 bags per acre. But once the ban was imposed, output dropped to 5 to 7 bags per acre.
Experts believe the government's organic farming policy has been a disaster and a major contributor to the food crisis, a crisis that has forced Sri Lanka to drastically increase its dependence on imported rice. The sudden addition to the country's import burden has had a telling impact on the economic crisis since its foreign reserves, which are used to pay for imports, have been dwindling quite rapidly. With rice now in short supply and prices going through the roof, the country's inflation rate crossed 17.5% in February. Experts point out that this could have been avoided since there were numerous studies from scientists and economists that advise against the policy.
The scientific evidences available with us were very clear, saying that the country cannot go fully organic in terms of achieving a cherished goal called food security.
The ban is not in place anymore, but the damage has been done. And experts estimate that it could take more than 2 to 3 full-year cultivation cycles for Sri Lanka's production capacity to improve.
After multiple protests by farmers, the crippling ban was lifted in November 2021, but by then it was too late. The tea crop failure caused losses of more than $400 million. Sri Lanka's rice production fell by 20% in just the first 6 months of this ban being in place. Sri Lanka was no longer self-sufficient when it came to rice production, and rice was a staple. This acute food shortage has led to skyrocketing food prices and long queues outside grocery stores and caused problems related to malnutrition and hunger. In Kalotra with camera person Pradeep, this is Santia for CNBC-TV18.